Hey guys, this is Danny with Electronic Fisherman. Today we're out here filming in the shop. It's about 1,000 degrees out here. We're sweating to death. We put together a pretty good topic for you, Humminbird Side Imaging. We hope to answer 10 common questions that are asked. We'll address those in this video and hopefully it'll help you guys out. So let's get started. So side imaging is a sonar tool that shoots a pulse or a frequency of sound down and out away from your transducer. It's probably the most powerful sonar tool that we've got as far as searching large sections of water. And it's the only tool besides Mega Live and Mega 360 to give you true direction and location of fish or structure within the beam. It's a time saver. Side imaging gives you the ability to scan large sections of water much quicker than the other sonar tools. It's got an 86-degree fan-like, very thin front to back, but wide side-to-side type of beam that allows you to look underneath the transducer to see stuff in the water column, the bottom, and out to the sides. It's also an excellent tool to use for both shallow and deep water scanning. So the side imaging pulse sound frequency originates obviously in the transducer. So in your transducer, you've got an element or a piezo on either side. It'll give you right and your left side returns. Most of the time, you're gonna have three frequencies, 455, 800, and 1.2 megahertz. During our training, you'll see that I'll use megahertz frequency and the 455 kilohertz frequency the most. I don't really use 800 that often. So let's talk about 455. 455 is really a good frequency if you need reach, not as much definition, but more reach. It's also a very good frequency to use if you've got stuff in the water, particulates, muddy water, pollen, algae blooms, stuff like that. Now, as far as mega imaging goes, the mega imaging frequency is a much smaller, or tighter band rather. You have less reach, but much more definition and clarity. So, if you want to search a very, very large area with 455 and you want to better define something that you see maybe 100 feet away from the boat, best thing to do is to turn the boat around, get closer to the object, switch frequencies down to mega, then you'll know what you're looking at. So unfortunately, there's no set it and forget it numbers when it comes to sonar. Factory default settings are a good place to start, but remember, every time that you move around the lake, you're gonna have to make some subtle changes in sensitivity, contrast, range, frequencies, and stuff like that. So to set your scan range when you're side imaging with your core series up to your Gen 2 models, it's best to set it around 3 to 4 times your depth. With your Gen 3 and your Gen 4 models, you can bump that range out maybe to 5 or 6 times your depth. But that's gonna be your preference and what your eyes see best. So the general rule of thumb is your speed over ground, or your GPS speed, plus 1 to 2. That's how you need to set your chart speed. Humminbird has the default setting at 5 because that best matches the ping return draw line of data sequence that they have set up. But if you scan faster than that, or you like a quicker refresh rate, you can turn up your chart speed. So when you scan in side imaging, it's best to go on a straight line, preferably between 2 and 6 miles an hour. You can get good returns if you go a little bit faster than that, but a lot of times you've got so much turbulence around the transducer that it will affect your returns. As far as other things that will affect it, turning the boat muddy or water with particulates in it, increased scan speeds, we just talked about that, and your transducer being blocked. A lot of times when people are out scanning, they don't realize, especially those that don't have a jack plate, their motor will be down, and so they'll block a beam on one side or the other, or they don't have their transducer installed or leveled properly. And the last thing is just pure weight distribution, whether you have too many batteries or tackle on one side of the boat or the other. So when you mark waypoints when you're side imaging, anytime that you have a vertical object that's sticking up off the bottom, a stump, a tree, or anything like that, where the shadow actually meets that object on the bottom, you need to place your cursor there, your cursor key, cursor over to it, and hit your mark button twice, and that's how you lay a waypoint there. If you have a brush pile or a rock pile or something that's bigger on the bottom, you just put your cursor key and move it over to the center of that, hit your mark button twice, and that's how you place the waypoints. Always best to have a preset button when you're side imaging so that you can verify what you're seeing in the water column. A lot of times you'll see stuff off to the right and left, and you'll see these specks in the water column, and I always have what I call the identifier button, which is a combination of 2D and DI. Remember, 2D always sees fish better, and DI always sees structure better. So always keep that in mind. If you don't have a separate unit and you're going to use one unit, either scan with SI and a DI combo screen, or have it at least on a hot button to where you can verify what you've got in the water column. Yes, when you're scanning, it's best to scan at different angles. You'll be surprised what you're missing if you just change the angle in which you scan. A brush pile will look much, much larger and different when the beam hits it parallel versus perpendicular. So next time you're out scanning a point, go across the middle of it and then run from the deep up to the shallow on the outside edge of it. You'll be surprised what a difference that'll make. So that's a wrap for the side imaging video. There are more great breakdowns like this one coming very soon. Please follow, share, like, and subscribe. We sincerely appreciate your support. God bless. Take care.